Something really exciting is about to happen, and it is the video about IFS and astrology. The reason it's so exciting is because these are literally my two favorite subjects in the world. IFS is my favorite, astrology is my second favorite, and I absolutely love both of them. So, how do they connect? How are they interrelated? And also, do you love my amethyst quartz? I love it, and I'm holding it. So that's what you may see me waving around here. All right, so IFS talks about how we all have different parts of ourselves, and I actually have a video about IFS specifically, and I really recommend checking it out if it feels right to do so. I will put a link in the comments. But in any case, it stands for Internal Family Systems, and it was developed by Richard Schwartz. He's been working on this since the 80s, and it's a pretty cool thing. So you know how sometimes people say, part of me wants to do this, but part of me wants to do this. Part of me feels this, part of me feels that. What they do not realize usually is that those parts that they're referring to are an actual thing, and they're actually a lot more interesting and complex than they probably imagine. And these different parts of us actually kind of are like sub-personalities, and they each have their own unique like role that they play in our psyche, and different things that they want, different things that they're afraid of, different like jobs that they take on sometimes, different talents, and to some extent, different personalities even. I say to some extent because I find that there are some like common threads that I find with pretty much all of my parts if I like talk to them for long enough. And yeah, so that's what IFS is about. We get to actually like interact with these parts of ourselves and learn all about them, and it's super interesting and fascinating and fun. By the way, this was developed as a form of psychotherapy, so it can also be a pretty heavy thing. It can be used for processing trauma. It can be used for like treating the symptoms of illnesses. Like they did a study with IFS and rheumatoid arthritis that was really something. You could Google that and check it out if you wanted to. But it can also be used to aid in transformation in our lives. And I am not professionally IFS trained. I'm also not a therapist or any other kind of mental health professional. I just love this kind of thing. So what do the two things have to do with each other? Well, both of the things are showing us different parts of ourselves, essentially. Like if you study astrology, particularly Western astrology, like some types of astrology are much more focused on the like external side of it, but Western astrology, and particularly like transformational astrology, tends to focus on how each of our placements represent a part of us and how those parts interact with each other, and different expressions that those parts can have. So what I have found, I have been working with IFS for a number of years, and I've been an astrologer for a little while, longer than I've been working with IFS actually. But what I have found is that there is correlation between our parts in or my parts in my system, or as I like to call them, my inner family. And that's, the different parts of me in my psyche. So there is a correlation. However, it's not super direct. Like there is not one single part that represents my moon, for example, I have met 3 different parts that are very much correlated to my moon, that are very distinct parts. So it's possible to have like multiple parts that correlate with the same placement in your chart. And also there are parts within me that do not correlate to something in my chart, other than just the fact that we all have the entire zodiac in our chart and we all have all of the houses in our chart. So, for example, I have 2 different parts that immediately come to mind, and I'm sure there are more, that are very Capricorn in nature. And I don't have any Capricorn placements except my 12th house cusp. Like, that's the only 12 or the only Capricorn placement that I have in my chart, even if I add like a bunch of asteroids and stuff like that. Oh, wait, I think my Lilith asteroid is actually in Capricorn. But in any case, the um, the thing that I was getting at is that there is definitely a correlation between the two, and you can understand. I, I'm hesitating to say this because I'm about to throw in a big but. Um, you can understand what's happening in your system, your psyche, more by studying your chart. But it's really important not to allow your chart to limit what you're looking for or open to finding once you start exploring yourself, whether it's through IFS or any other different kind of depth work. It's really important to just be open and curious and willing to be surprised, because if you do it in earnest, you're going to be surprised. There's a lot of really interesting stuff that you probably never would have guessed. Um, there's an entire world inside of you. Like, I can't imagine ever being bored again now that I know this, because I like there's endless stuff to explore inside of me now that I know how. Um, so, anyways, the idea here is that it can be really interesting to correlate the two based on your chart. However, the most useful way that I've found, well, okay, one of the most useful ways that I've found to combine astrology and IFS is to just take it a house at a time and essentially use the language of astrology to help understand how the different areas of life are interconnected. And I will add that having an awareness of, different parts that are inside my system really makes my experience with astrology a lot richer, because I'm like, oh, I have a part named Rebel. Oh yeah, they like names, by the way. At least mine do. I actually will just like straight up ask them, like, what do you want me to call you? And they'll tell me a name, and then I call them that. And there's a part named Rebel who is basically like a correlation with, or a manifestation of, or a representation of, however you want to say it, Uranus in my chart. And she's not the only one, I'm sure, but she seems to think she is. She's like telling me she is. Well, anyways, it makes my experience of my chart a lot more interesting to have this significantly deeper and richer understanding of myself. Like, I can look at my chart and make sense of placements and get value out of knowing astrology to such a deeper extent because I have this self-awareness, and it makes astrology more useful for me, you know? So I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this video. You know what? Actually, I'm going to pause for a second and look at my list and see if I said everything I wanted to say. Okay, there's something very important that I was going to say. In IFS, we have all these different fascinating parts, and you can check out the video about that if you want. Or there's like other videos and books, like all sorts of really wonderful resources online. So, I mean, you can just look at, look up internal family systems and find all sorts of wonderful information. But, anyways, the thing that I'm getting at here is that we have all these different parts of us, but then we also have our true self, our core self. And that is not something that is in our astrology chart. Like our astrology chart will show us all sorts of stuff that is about different parts of us, but those are all things about us or like parts of us. It's not like the true core self. So, a lot of people identify with either their sun or their moon or their ascendant or sometimes their midheaven, um, or sometimes other placements in their chart, but that's it's not the real you. Like just flat out saying that that's not the real you. There's something deeper than that. There's something, um, I'm not going to say too much about it because, like I said, there are other videos about that, but I'm going to just quickly read off a list of qualities of self, and this is anybody's like true core self in the model IFS. So this is coming from the IFS model, and those qualities are calm, connection, compassion, creativity, clarity, curiosity, confidence, courage, playfulness, patience, presence, perspective, and persistence. So they're kind of universal qualities to everybody's true self in IFS. And it's not your sun sign, it's not your moon sign, it's not any of that. It's something deeper than that. So, in any case, I just want to throw in one more time because I re-recorded this video and I don't remember if I said it in this recording or not. I am not IFS certified. I am what's called IFS informed, which just means like I know about IFS a little bit. But I do not have the professional certification for IFS. And I am also not a mental health professional. I don't have any like professional licenses for mental health care. So thank you for watching.